Olivia stared at the message on her phone, her blood turning cold. She had meant to send the scandalous joke to her best friend, Sage. Instead, it had gone straight to King Damon Ashford, the ruthless alpha king of the Northern Territories. The message was already read. Then her phone buzzed. Interesting proposition, Omega. You have exactly 1 hour to present yourself at the Northern Palace, or I'll assume you're all talk and no substance. Olivia stopped breathing. The king had answered, and now he wanted her at the palace. Chapter 1. The Omega Who Had Nothing to Lose. 3 hours earlier, Olivia Thorne was on her hands and knees scrubbing the kitchen floor of the Crimson Ridge pack house. Harsh chemicals had left her fingers raw, and several small cuts had begun to bleed. This was already her third assignment of the day. She had cleaned the Alpha's private quarters first, hauled garbage from the communal dining hall afterward, and now she was trying to finish the kitchen. You missed a spot, Omega. Olivia froze. She did not need to look up. Vivian, the pack leader's daughter, had been born with everything Olivia would never have: beauty, status, wealth, power, and the confidence of someone who had never heard the word no. Where? Olivia asked softly, keeping her eyes lowered. A designer heel struck the floor inches from Olivia's hand. Dirty water splashed across her face and gray uniform. There. Vivian smiled sweetly. And there. Oh, and there too. Her foot caught the bucket. Grimy water spilled across the floor Olivia had spent nearly 2 hours cleaning. Oops, clumsy me. Vivian looked down at the spreading water. You should clean that before Mother sees it. You know how she feels about sloppy Omegas. Olivia clenched her jaw. For one dangerous second, she imagined grabbing Vivian by her perfect blonde hair. She imagined fighting back. Then 7 years of conditioning crushed the thought. Don't. You are nothing. You own nothing. You are nothing. Yes, Vivian, Olivia whispered. Vivian's eyes narrowed. That's Miss Vivian to you, Omega. Yes, Miss Vivian. Satisfied, Vivian walked away laughing. She was probably going to meet her fiancé, a wealthy beta from one of the eastern packs who looked at Olivia as though she were something stuck beneath his shoe. Olivia remained on her knees. She stared at the filthy water covering the floor and felt another small piece of herself break. She was 23 years old. She had lived like this since she was 16. Crimson Ridge never called Omegas slaves. They preferred gentler words. Workers, dependents, pack servants. The words changed nothing. For 7 years Olivia had said, "Yes, Alpha. Sorry, Alpha. I'll clean it up, Alpha." 7 years of being reminded that she had no value beyond the work other wolves could force from her. Her parents had died during a rogue attack when Olivia was 15. Crimson Ridge had graciously allowed the orphaned girl to remain with the pack. There had only been one condition. She had to earn her keep. In reality, that meant 18-hour workdays without pay, a basement bedroom shared with 3 other Omegas, and whatever food remained after everyone else had finished eating. And everyone called that mercy. Because an Omega without a pack became a rogue, and rogues did not survive. The king's law was absolute. Every wolf belonged to a recognized pack. Wolves who lived outside that system could be hunted as dangerous rogues. So Olivia stayed. She scrubbed floors. She swallowed her anger. For years, she told herself things might eventually improve. She no longer believed it. Later that evening, Olivia collapsed onto the thin mattress in the basement, every muscle in her body aching. Sage, her only real friend in Crimson Ridge, was already lying on her bed scrolling through her phone. "Rough day?" Sage asked. "They're all rough days." Fair point. Sage looked over and immediately understood. "Vivian again?" She kicked over my bucket. 3 hours of work destroyed in 3 seconds. "That bitch." Sage sat upright. "You know what you need? A new pack? A distraction." Olivia gave her a tired look. "Something fun," Sage continued. "Something that reminds you that you're still a person and not just a pack maid." Olivia snorted. Like what? We can't leave Pack territory without permission. We aren't allowed into the entertainment district because apparently we're not respectable enough. And neither of us has money. Then, we use our imaginations. A mischievous grin spread across Sage's face. Olivia immediately became suspicious. Come on, if you could have anyone, and I mean anyone in the entire shifter world, who would you choose? And what would you do with him? This is ridiculous. Humor me, you need to laugh before you finally murder Vivian in her sleep. Olivia considered that. Tempting. Sage laughed. So? Anyone you want. Olivia thought for a moment. Fine. If I could choose anyone, I'd want someone powerful. How powerful? Powerful enough that everyone who ever looked down on me would regret it. Someone who could make me feel like I actually matter. Sage's eyebrows rose. Oh, I like this. Keep going. For the first time that day, Olivia almost smiled. I'd want him to be overwhelming. Overwhelming how? So overwhelming I'd forget my own name. Sage leaned closer. And? Olivia hesitated, suddenly embarrassed. Say it. I'd want him to pin me against a wall and make me feel like I'm the only woman in the world. Her voice softened. I'd want someone who looked at me and actually saw me, not an omega, not someone useful, me. Sage pressed a hand dramatically to her chest. That is both beautiful and incredibly hot. Olivia laughed. You should write it down. What? Absolutely not. Send it to me. I'll send you mine. We'll make it a game. Messages to fantasy alphas we'll never have. You're insane. And you love me. Sage pointed at Olivia's phone. One message. Make it spicy. Maybe Olivia was simply exhausted. Maybe she desperately needed one moment in which she did not feel dirty, invisible, or worthless. Whatever the reason, she picked up her phone. She typed slowly. I want you to pin me against a wall and make me forget my own name. Think you can handle that? Or should I find someone who actually knows what he's doing? She showed Sage. Sage burst out laughing. Perfect, send it. Olivia opened her contacts and scrolled toward Sage's name. Then she pressed send. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then Olivia saw the contact at the top of the conversation. Her blood froze. She had selected the name directly above Sage. A contact she had saved months ago after a kingdom-wide message regarding new territory regulations. King Damon Ashford. Olivia stopped breathing. Chapter 2. The Summons. The phone suddenly felt like a bomb in Olivia's hands. Not a bomb waiting to explode. One that already had. Olivia? Sage's voice sounded far away. Liv, what's wrong? You look like you've seen a ghost. Olivia could not answer. 3 small dots appeared beneath Damon Ashford's name. He was typing. The Alpha King was typing a response to her obscene message. The dots disappeared, then returned, then vanished again. Olivia, you're scaring me. Sage grabbed her shoulder. What happened? Olivia's voice barely worked. I sent it to the wrong person. Sage frowned. So? Who cares? It's just, I sent it to the king. All color disappeared from Sage's face. You're joking. Do I look like I'm joking? Olivia's voice cracked. I sent that message to King Damon Ashford. The Alpha King? The ruthless Alpha King. The man everyone says executes people for looking at him wrong. I just propositioned him like he's some random man on a dating app. Panic broke through her. Oh gods, I'm going to die. He's going to kill me. He'll drag me to the Capitol and make an example. Her phone buzzed. Both women screamed. Olivia nearly dropped it. With violently shaking fingers, she opened the message. King Damon Ashford. Interesting proposition, Omega. You have exactly 1 hour to present yourself at the Northern Palace. Or I'll assume you're all talk and no substance. Don't keep me waiting. The phone fell from Olivia's hand and hit the floor. What did he say? Sage whispered. Olivia stared blankly ahead. This could not be happening. Kings did not answer accidental messages from unknown Omegas. Kings sent guards, executioners, punishment orders. They did not flirt back. The phone buzzed again. Olivia picked it up. 59 minutes, Omega. I suggest you start moving. He wants me at the palace, Olivia breathed. Now? Now. Sage shook her head. You can't go. If I don't, he'll come here. Olivia's voice became hollow. He could drag me away in chains. He could punish the entire pack for my disrespect. If I go willingly, maybe he'll just kill me quickly and leave everyone else alone. Don't say that. Sage grabbed both her hands. You don't know what he wants. Maybe he's curious. Maybe he thought it was funny. The ruthless Alpha King doesn't find things funny, Sage. He finds things offensive, treasonous, or worthy of execution. Olivia pulled away and forced herself onto trembling legs. I have to go. Then I'm coming. No. Her answer was firmer than either of them expected. You stay here. If this goes badly, when it goes badly, I need you to tell people what happened. Tell them I didn't mean to insult him. Tears filled Sage's eyes. Olivia, promise me. Sage swallowed. I promise. Olivia looked down at herself. Her shapeless gray work dress was stained with mop water and chemicals. Her honey-brown hair was tangled. She smelled of sweat and industrial floor cleaner. Perfect. She almost laughed bitterly. She could meet her executioner looking exactly like the worthless Omega everyone believed her to be. Then something inside her resisted. A tiny defiant spark that 7 years of cruelty had somehow failed to extinguish. If she was going to die, she would at least die with whatever dignity she still possessed. Olivia pulled off her uniform. From the few clothes she owned, she chose a simple black dress she had found in a donation bin 3 years earlier. It was old. The style was outdated, but it was clean. She brushed her hair until it fell in soft waves around her shoulders and found an ancient tube of lip gloss at the bottom of her bag. When she faced the cracked mirror, she almost did not recognize herself. She looked nearly pretty. Too bad being pretty would not help when the king executed her. You look beautiful, Sage said quietly. I look terrified. That too. Olivia grabbed her jacket and phone. 43 minutes remained. The Northern Palace was roughly half an hour from Crimson Ridge by car. Olivia did not own a car. She would have to reach the main road and hope for a bus or beg someone for a ride. She had barely reached the basement stairs when a familiar voice stopped her. And where exactly do you think you're going, Omega? Olivia's stomach dropped. Margot stood at the top of the stairs. The Crimson Ridge pack leader had her arms folded over her chest, her expression cold. Vivian stood behind her, smiling. I have an errand, Olivia said. An errand? Margot slowly looked over Olivia's dress. At this hour? Dressed like that? Vivian descended the stairs and circled Olivia. She dressed up. Maybe our little Omega has a secret boyfriend. Vivian laughed. How scandalous. Imagine an Omega thinking she's good enough for romance. I need to go, Olivia said. Please, it's important. Nothing an Omega does is important. Margot's voice was flat. Change back into your uniform. The upstairs bathrooms need to be scrubbed. 39 minutes. I can't. Olivia surprised herself. I have to leave now. Margot's eyes hardened. You are refusing a direct order from your pack leader. I'm not refusing. I'm just... Seize her. 2 guards stepped from the shadows. Olivia's blood ran cold. They had already been waiting. Strong hands closed around her arms. Take her to the discipline room, Margot ordered. 3 days in isolation should remind her of her place. No. Olivia struggled. Real terror flooded her now. You don't understand. The king summoned me. If I don't go... Vivian burst out laughing. The king? She turned toward her mother. She expects us to believe the Alpha King summoned her? An Omega nobody? Vivian looked back at Olivia. She's delusional. Maybe isolation isn't enough. Perhaps she needs a medical evaluation. Please. Olivia's voice broke. Look at my phone. He sent me the summons. I have to go. Margot ripped the phone from Olivia's pocket. She read the messages. Disdain vanished from her expression. Confusion replaced it. Then fear. The phone slipped from her hand. What is it, Mother? Vivian asked. Margot had gone pale. She's telling the truth. Vivian stared. The king? He actually summoned her. The guard's hands loosened. Vivian snatched the phone from the floor and read the conversation. Jealousy twisted her face. This is impossible. Why would the king summon her? She's nothing. And you're wasting my time. Olivia tore her arms free. Her fear was still there, but now something stronger was rising beneath it. I have 35 minutes to reach the palace. When the king realizes I'm late and comes looking for an explanation, what exactly are you going to tell him? Margot said nothing. That you prevented me from answering a royal summons? Margot's remaining color disappeared. Let her go, she whispered. Then louder. Now. The guard stepped away. Olivia did not wait. She ran upstairs, through the pack house, and into the cold night. Her lungs burned as she sprinted toward the territory border. Then she stopped. A sleek black car was parked beside the road. A man in royal livery stood waiting. Miss Olivia? She stared at him. Yes. His Majesty anticipated that you might encounter difficulties leaving your territory. Olivia's mouth fell open. I'm here to escort you to the palace. He opened the rear door. We have 32 minutes, more than enough. Olivia climbed inside on trembling legs. The leather seats were softer than anything she had ever touched. Gentle lighting illuminated the luxurious interior, and the faint scent of expensive cologne lingered in the air. As the vehicle left Crimson Ridge behind, Olivia stared through the window. 7 years. That territory had been the only home she knew after her parents died. She tried to prepare for whatever was waiting. Death, perhaps, but maybe something else. The lights of the capital eventually appeared ahead. Above them rose the Northern Palace, an enormous structure of ancient stone, glass, and steel. Beautiful, terrifying, just like the man waiting inside. Chapter 3. The Ruthless Alpha King. The Northern Palace was even more intimidating up close. Olivia had seen photographs of it. She had watched royal broadcasts with the palace behind Damon. Images of its towers appeared on propaganda posters throughout every pack territory. None of those images captured the reality. Black stone and polished silver rose toward the sky, from foundations that had witnessed centuries of royal power and bloodshed. The car passed through gates guarded by warriors large enough to break Olivia in half without effort. Every guard watched the vehicle. Olivia wondered whether they were calculating how quickly they could kill her if Damon gave the order. Probably very quickly. The driver stopped beside a smaller private entrance, far from the ceremonial doors used by diplomats and pack leaders. It was discreet, hidden, the kind of doorway used for people no one was supposed to see. Or people who were never supposed to leave. The driver opened her door. Someone will escort you from here, Miss Olivia. She stepped onto the stone. A woman emerged from the shadows, tall, elegant. Silver hair arranged in an immaculate bun. Her expression revealed nothing. I am Cordelia, His Majesty's senior advisor. You are Olivia of Crimson Ridge? Yes, ma'am. Cordelia examined her from head to toe. You are 43 seconds late. His Majesty is displeased. Olivia's stomach dropped. I came as quickly as I could. My pack leader tried to. Save your explanation for the king. Cordelia turned. Follow me. Speak only when spoken to. Touch nothing. Do not look directly at His Majesty unless he instructs you to do so. Understood? Yes, ma'am. The palace corridors seemed intentionally designed to make visitors feel powerless. Marble floors reflected every step. Portraits of dead Alpha Kings covered the walls, each expression varying only in its degree of cruelty. Crimson accents appeared throughout the otherwise cold decor, reminders of what happened when someone displeased the crown. Olivia's heartbeat grew louder with every step. They climbed a broad staircase and continued through another corridor before stopping before enormous dark wooden doors decorated with silver. Cordelia knocked twice. Enter. The single word came from inside. Deep. Controlled. Commanding. A shiver moved down Olivia's spine. This was it. The place where she might die. Cordelia opened the doors. His Majesty will see you now. Olivia entered. The doors closed behind her with a quiet click that sounded terrifyingly final. The office was enormous. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the capital. Bookshelves held both ancient texts and modern technology. A fire burned along one wall, and behind a massive desk sat King Damon Ashford. Olivia forgot to breathe. Pictures had not prepared her for him. Even seated, he was clearly tall and powerfully built. Dark hair fell slightly longer than royal formality normally allowed. His silver eyes were not dead or emotionless, as Olivia had imagined. They resembled molten metal. Intelligent, intense, dangerous. He was handsome in the same way a blade could be beautiful, precise enough to admire, deadly enough to fear. Damon studied her in silence. Finally, he spoke. "You're shorter than I expected." Olivia blinked. Of every possible opening sentence she had imagined, that had not been one of them. What? Shorter. He leaned back. "Judging by your message, I expected someone taller, more confident. Someone capable of supporting such bold claims." Olivia's face burned. "Your Majesty, I need to apologize. That message was a terrible mistake. It was meant for my friend and I accidentally." "I know." He stopped her with one gesture. "My technology team traced the message history. They confirmed you were exchanging texts with a friend and participating in what I believe is called fantasy roleplay." The faint distaste in his voice made Olivia wish the floor would swallow her. "So you did not deliberately proposition your king?" "No. Yes. I didn't mean to." Olivia stumbled over every word. "I would never disrespect you. I wasn't trying to be inappropriate. I just..." "Stop." His voice was quiet. Olivia instantly obeyed. "Stop apologizing. It's tedious." Her mouth closed. Damon rose. He was easily over 6 feet tall. He moved around the desk with the controlled grace of a predator. Olivia fought the instinct to retreat. Damon stopped several feet away. His scent reached her. Cedar, winter frost, and something uniquely his. For the first time in years, Olivia felt her wolf stir inside her. No, absolutely not. She would not react to him. "Look at me." Olivia raised her eyes immediately. Cordelia had warned her not to do exactly that, but the king's direct command overruled every other instruction. Silver eyes locked with hers. Damon studied her as though reading something hidden beneath her skin. "You're terrified." "Yes, Your Majesty." "Of me? Of what you might do because I disrespected you?" Something almost like amusement crossed his face. "What exactly do you expect me to do? Execute me?" Olivia swallowed. "Make an example of me. Show the kingdom what happens when an Omega forgets her place." Damon tilted his head. "Is that what you have been taught? That I execute people over minor offenses? You executed pack leaders for disloyalty. I executed pack leaders for treason." His voice hardened. They were stealing resources from their packs, abusing their authority, and threatening the stability of the kingdom. Damon took another step closer. "That is slightly different from an Omega accidentally sending me an inappropriate text message. Wouldn't you agree?" Olivia no longer knew what to think. Nothing was happening as she had imagined. Then Damon's voice dropped. "Tell me something, Olivia of Crimson Ridge." She stiffened. "If the message had not been an accident, if you genuinely wanted to proposition me, what would you have hoped to find?" Olivia's throat went dry. "I don't understand." It's a simple question. He looked directly into her eyes. What does an Omega who has been beaten down her entire life want when she fantasizes about a powerful alpha? The question cut too close. I wasn't fantasizing about you specifically. I know. Damon's tone softened without losing its authority. But you were fantasizing about someone. Power, protection. Someone who made you feel valuable. His gaze never left hers. Someone powerful enough to make you forget your own name because, for once, pleasure would overwhelm the pain. Olivia's breath caught. How could he know? I have studied pack dynamics my entire life, Damon continued. I know how Omegas are treated in packs like Crimson Ridge. I know about the abuse, the humiliation, the deliberate destruction of their confidence, until they begin believing they truly are worthless. Then why don't you stop it? The words escaped before Olivia could catch them. Silence filled the office. She had challenged the king. Idiot. Absolute idiot. Yet Damon did not look angry. He looked interested. Because changing centuries of pack hierarchy requires more than royal orders. He spoke slowly. It requires changing the beliefs of alphas, betas, and omegas across the entire kingdom. That requires time, strategy, and leverage. He paused. And perhaps you are about to help me obtain that leverage. Olivia stared. What? I didn't summon you here to punish you. Damon returned to his desk. Your accidental message gave me an idea. He pressed a control. The enormous windows darkened, shielding the office from outside view. An idea that might benefit both of us. I don't understand. You will. He gestured toward a chair. Sit. Olivia obeyed. Damon leaned against the desk and crossed his arms. I need a mate. Olivia's thoughts stopped completely. I'm sorry? A mate. He held her stunned gaze. A queen. Someone who can stand beside me and help change this kingdom's treatment of Omegas. His expression became impossible to read. And you, Olivia Thorne of Crimson Ridge, have suddenly become a very interesting candidate. Olivia felt the room tilt beneath her. She had expected execution. What Damon was proposing sounded infinitely more dangerous. Chapter 4. The Proposal. Olivia was certain she had misunderstood him. Your Majesty, I think there's been some kind of mistake. She pointed weakly toward herself. I'm an Omega, a nobody from a pack that treats me like garbage. You're the Alpha King. You cannot possibly be suggesting. I'm not suggesting. Damon interrupted calmly. I am proposing a mutually beneficial arrangement. He opened a cabinet and poured amber liquid into 2 glasses. He handed one to Olivia. Drink. You look like you're about to faint. Her hands shook as she accepted it. She swallowed the drink in one gulp. Fire burned down her throat, but the shock helped clear her thoughts. You want me to become your mate? Your queen? Potentially. Why? Because you're perfect. Olivia laughed. The sound came out sharp and almost hysterical. I am the furthest thing from perfect. I'm poor, weak. I have no connections. I have almost no education, and most days I smell like floor cleaner. She stared at him. There must be thousands of beautiful, accomplished Omega women who would kill for this opportunity. Why me? Damon almost smiled. Because you are precisely what I need. For what? For the last 3 years, I have been trying to pass laws protecting Omegas from abuse. His expression hardened. Fair wages, safe working conditions, legal protection from unwanted bonds, basic dignity. Olivia stared at him. Every proposal has been blocked by the Alpha Council, Damon continued. Their argument is always the same. Omegas are too fragile for responsibility. They require guidance. Giving them rights would disrupt the natural order. Olivia had never heard any of this. The news never mentioned a fight over Omega rights. Of course it doesn't, Damon said, seeming to understand her expression. Much of the media is controlled by people aligned with the Alpha Council. They bury anything that contradicts their preferred story. He stepped closer. But they cannot bury a royal wedding. Olivia's pulse jumped. They cannot ignore the Alpha King's chosen mate. And if that mate is an Omega who rises from nothing and stands beside the king as queen, an Omega who proves she can think, lead, and command respect, the council's argument begins collapsing. Understanding came slowly. You want to use me as a symbol. I want to use us as a statement. Damon's correction was immediate. You become my mate and queen. Together, we demonstrate that Omegas deserve respect, and that the old hierarchy needs to change. He watched her carefully. In return, you receive everything you have been denied: protection, power, freedom, a life in which no one can ever treat you as less than a person again. It was brilliant, insane, and more tempting than Olivia wanted to admit. What's the catch? Damon raised one eyebrow. Perceptive. He sat again. There is always a catch. He folded his hands. This would be a contract, Olivia. Not a love match. Something tightened unexpectedly inside her chest. In public, we behave like devoted mates. In private, we maintain professional boundaries. So no real mating bond? No. No mark? No. No consummation? No. No true mate relationship. Correct. His tone remained clinical. I need a partner capable of helping me change a kingdom. I do not need someone becoming emotionally dependent on me and complicating the arrangement. Olivia stared. How romantic. I'm not interested in romance. Damon's voice was flat. I'm interested in revolution. Olivia studied him. What happens if you meet your real mate, someone you actually want as queen? Something cold entered his expression. I do not believe in true mates. Olivia blinked. Mate bonds are biology, pheromones, instinct. They can be resisted. He spoke as though discussing a medical condition. True mates are a story Omegas tell themselves to make bondage sound romantic. There was something beneath those words, an old wound. Olivia sensed it, but she did not ask. So you want me to become your fake mate, help you change the laws, and then what? We stay in a loveless political marriage forever? 5 years, Damon answered immediately. Long enough to establish legal precedent and pass the reforms we need. And afterward? We quietly dissolve the arrangement. Incompatibility, irreconcilable differences, whatever explanation creates the least political damage. He leaned back. You would have wealth, status, and permanent protection. You could live anywhere, do anything. No one would dare mistreat a former queen. 5 years. 5 years pretending to love the most powerful and dangerous man in the Northern Territories. 5 years with everything she had ever lacked. Everything except the one thing she secretly wanted most. Someone who genuinely cared about her. And if I say no, you return to Crimson Ridge. His silver eyes remained steady. We forget this conversation happened. You will not be punished for the text. You are free to leave. Olivia should have felt relieved. Instead, Damon continued. But think carefully. When will another opportunity come to escape that basement? The question struck hard. When will you get another chance to matter? Olivia looked away. He was right. This was a door that would never open twice. Yet accepting meant exchanging one prison for another. Crimson Ridge had been a basement. The palace might become a golden cage, but it would still be a cage. How long do I have to decide? Tonight. Olivia looked sharply at him. If you accept, we announce the engagement tomorrow. The shock will be most effective immediately. If you refuse, you leave tonight and tell no one about this conversation. That isn't enough time. Life rarely gives us enough time for important decisions. Damon cut her off. We decide with incomplete information and hope we chose correctly. Then his expression turned hard. So choose, Olivia. Remain a victim or become a queen. Olivia closed her eyes. She saw Vivian laughing, Margot staring through her as though Olivia were barely alive. 7 years of bleeding fingers. bruised knees, cold nights, scraps of food. She saw a future in which nothing ever changed. More work, more humiliation, more pieces of herself disappearing until nothing remained. She thought about Sage, another Omega trapped in the same basement. She thought of all the Omegas she had never met who were living the same life. Then she remembered herself before her parents died, a girl who wanted adventure, love, purpose. That girl had been buried beneath years of trauma. Maybe she was still alive. Olivia opened her eyes. I have conditions. Damon leaned forward. I'm listening. First, Sage comes here. She gets a real job, real wages, protection. She never has to return to Crimson Ridge. Done. Second, I actually participate in the reform work. I refuse to stand around looking pretty while everyone else makes decisions. Agreed. I intended that anyway. Olivia inhaled. Third, this condition frightened her more. If either of us meets our true mate during those 5 years, the contract ends immediately. No questions, no punishment. I won't trap you, and you won't trap me. Something changed in Damon's eyes. Surprise. Respect. That is remarkably fair. I've spent my whole life trapped. Olivia's voice softened. I will never deliberately do that to someone else. Damon stood. He extended his hand. Then, we have an agreement. Olivia stared at it. 5 years. We present ourselves as the perfect royal couple. We change the kingdom's laws. Afterward, we separate peacefully. His hand remained extended. You receive freedom, wealth, protection, and the right to choose the rest of your life. This was the moment. Olivia could still refuse. She could return to Crimson Ridge, her basement, her mop, her small, painful life. Or she could take his hand. Perhaps some mistakes destroyed lives. Perhaps others opened doors. Olivia placed her hand in his. The moment their skin touched, electricity raced along her arm. I accept your offer, Your Majesty. Damon smiled. Not the controlled, almost smile she had seen before. A real one. Sharp, dangerous, thrilling. Then I suppose we should discuss wedding plans. Olivia swallowed. And Olivia? Yes? Call me Damon. We're engaged now. His gaze lingered on her. We might as well begin practicing intimacy. The way he said intimacy sent heat through her body. 5 years. This was going to be far more complicated than she had imagined. Chapter 5. The Transformation. Olivia did not return to Crimson Ridge that night. Within an hour of accepting Damon's agreement, Cordelia escorted her to a private palace wing. The suite was so luxurious that Olivia was afraid to touch anything. Crystal chandeliers, silk curtains, a bed larger and softer than anything she had ever seen. The bathroom alone seemed bigger than the basement room she had shared with 3 other Omegas. These will be your quarters until the wedding, Cordelia explained. After the ceremony, you will move into the Queen's wing beside His Majesty's rooms. She added carefully, for appearances. Right. Olivia looked around. Appearances. Cordelia's expression softened. This must be overwhelming, but understand something. The king does not make decisions impulsively. If he selected you, there is a reason beyond political theater. Olivia turned. What reason? That is yours to discover. Cordelia walked toward the door. Rest. Tomorrow your transformation begins. She paused. You have 1 week to become a queen. Then she left. Olivia stood alone. She should have felt triumphant. Safe. Free. Instead, she was terrified. She approached the enormous window. Below her stretched manicured gardens, fountains reflecting moonlight, and pathways she had never imagined being allowed to walk. Beyond the palace grounds, the capital glittered. Somewhere beyond that city lay Crimson Ridge. Vivian might already believe Olivia had been executed. Margot was probably relieved that her troublesome Omega was gone. Then Olivia remembered Sage. Her phone buzzed almost immediately. Sage had sent several messages. Are you alive? Olivia, please tell me you're alive. I swear if you're dead, I'm going to kill you myself. Olivia's eyes burned. She quickly replied, I'm alive. I'm at the palace. And something insane happened. Sage responded almost instantly. Did he let you go? Are you coming back? I'm never coming back. Olivia smiled as she typed the next sentence. But you are coming here. Pack your things, you're moving to the palace tomorrow. What? I'll explain everything when you arrive. Trust me. A pause followed. Then Sage wrote, Olivia, what did you do? Olivia stared at the screen. I agreed to marry the king. Silence. Then Sage responded, I'm sorry, my phone must be broken, because it looks like you just said you're marrying the Alpha King. Your phone isn't broken. Explain, now. Olivia spent the next 20 minutes typing out what had happened. The message. The summons. The proposal. The 5-year arrangement. She told Sage nearly everything except the fact that the relationship would be fake. That detail felt too dangerous to record in a message. When she finished, Sage replied, This is the most insane thing I have ever heard. Another message appeared. I'm terrified for you. Then another. But I'm also so proud of you. And another. You're going to be queen. Olivia answered. A fake queen. Sage replied. Doesn't matter. You're getting out. We're both getting out. Olivia could imagine her crying. Save the tears for tomorrow. Apparently they're going to transform me into someone worthy of being queen. I assume it will involve pain. You are already worthy, Sage responded. Don't let anyone make you forget that. Olivia smiled. Sage always knew exactly what she needed to hear. They continued texting until Sage finally had to pack. Olivia was about to put the phone away when another message arrived. Damon. Are you settling in? Her heart gave an embarrassing little jump. The Alpha King was casually texting her as though they were ordinary friends. Yes, thank you. The rooms are beautiful. Good. Sleep. Your training starts tomorrow. Cordelia will be intense. Training for what? Everything. Olivia frowned. Elaborate. Etiquette. Politics. Public speaking. Pack law. Combat. Dancing. She stopped at one word. Combat? A queen must be capable of defending herself. I will not have you helpless. Something warm spread through Olivia. He did not want her obedient. Or fragile. He wanted her strong. I'll do my best. I know. A second message followed. That is why I chose you. Then, good night, Olivia. She stared at his name before replying. Good night, Damon. Typing his first name felt surprisingly intimate. Olivia put down her phone and explored her new rooms. Empty closets waited for clothes she did not yet own. The bathtub looked large enough to swim in. The mattress made her feel as though she were floating. She took a long shower. Hot water washed away the smell of chemical cleaner that seemed permanently embedded in her skin. For Olivia, it felt as though 7 years of Crimson Ridge were running down the drain. She put on the silk pajamas waiting for her and crawled beneath the blankets. She expected to remain awake all night. Instead, she fell asleep almost immediately. For the first time in years, she felt safe. The next morning, someone shook her shoulder. Up, now. Olivia opened her eyes. Cordelia stood over her. We have 9 hours before the press conference, and currently you look like a disaster. Olivia blinked. Press conference? The king will announce your engagement this afternoon. By then, you must look composed enough not to faint when 100 reporters begin shouting questions. Cordelia threw open the curtains. Bright daylight flooded the room. We have work to do. What followed was one of the most exhausting days of Olivia's life. First came the wardrobe team. Stylists measured nearly every part of her, argued about colors, and dressed her in outfit after outfit. Eventually they chose an emerald dress. It fitted Olivia beautifully, and made her honey brown hair seem warmer. More importantly, she somehow looked regal. Green is a royal color, one stylist explained. Growth, renewal, power. Appropriate for an Omega Queen changing tradition. Hair and makeup followed. For 2 hours, professionals transformed Olivia while explaining techniques she barely understood. You have beautiful eyes, the makeup artist said. We're going to make everyone notice them. Then came etiquette. Chin up. Cordelia paced beside Olivia. Shoulders back, spine straight. Olivia struggled in painfully high heels. You are about to become a queen, not remain a servant. Stop apologizing with your body. How am I apologizing with my body? Olivia immediately stumbled. Like that, Cordelia demonstrated. You hunch, you lower your head, you deliberately make yourself smaller. Queens do not make themselves smaller. Olivia tried again. She stumbled, tried again. By the 5th attempt, something shifted. Instead of concentrating on not falling, Olivia focused on where she intended to go. Her body followed. Better, Cordelia said. You learn quickly. Media training came next. A thin man named Julian took over. Never say no comment. It makes people assume you're hiding something. Redirect instead. He demonstrated. Say, that is an excellent question, but what I really want to focus on is, then move the conversation back toward your message. What exactly is my message? That Omegas deserve dignity. That the king recognized qualities in you the kingdom has overlooked. Julian hesitated and glanced toward Cordelia. And that love can exist between wolves regardless of status. Love. Olivia almost laughed. The most important part of the public story was also the biggest lie. They will ask about Crimson Ridge, Julian continued. They'll ask how you met. We prepared a script. No script. Damon's voice sliced through the room. Everyone turned. He stood in the doorway wearing formal black. His silver eyes immediately found Olivia. Your Majesty, Julian began. I know exactly what you were doing. Damon entered. She speaks honestly or this fails. People recognize rehearsed lies. We need authenticity. What if she says the wrong thing? Then we handle it. Damon stopped before Olivia. How are you? Terrified. She looked down at the heels. My feet hurt, and I'm not sure I can do this. A faint smile touched his mouth. Good. Olivia stared at him. Good? If you weren't afraid, I would worry. Fear means you understand what is at stake. He reached out and moved a loose strand of hair back into place. The touch was unexpectedly gentle. You can do this. How do you know? Because you survived 7 years of abuse that would have broken most people. His voice lowered. You are stronger than you think. Olivia held his gaze. And today, you show the kingdom what an Omega is capable of. His confidence steadied something inside her. Maybe he only believed in what she represented. For now, that would have to be enough. Olivia straightened her shoulders. Okay, she breathed once. Let's do it. Damon smiled wider. There she is. His gaze moved over her. There's my queen. My queen. 2 words. Her body reacted as if they meant far more than they should. 2 hours later, Olivia waited behind the curtain of the palace press room. Dozens of reporters were gathered beyond it. Cameras pointed toward the stage. Voices buzzed with speculation over the mysterious emergency announcement. Sage had arrived at the palace an hour earlier and was now seated in the audience. Seeing her friend there gave Olivia strength. Ready? Damon appeared beside her. No. Perfect. Olivia turned. Neither am I. She stared at him. You get nervous? Before every important public address, the day I stop being nervous is the day I stop caring whether I get it right. Olivia exhaled. That actually helps. Don't thank me yet. Wait until we survive the next hour. He offered his arm. Shall we? Olivia placed her hand on him. Together, they stepped into the lights. The room erupted. Chapter 6. The Announcement. Camera flashes exploded around them. Reporters shouted over one another. Notepads and tablets appeared everywhere as journalists fought to document the moment. Olivia's instinct screamed at her to shrink, disappear, become invisible. Then Damon's hand covered hers where it rested on his arm. A quiet reminder. Queens do not make themselves smaller. Olivia raised her chin. She walked beside him toward the podium. Hundreds of eyes judged her. An unknown Omega standing beside their king. Damon stopped at the podium. Gradually, the room became silent. "Thank you for coming on such short notice." His voice carried effortlessly. "I have an announcement that will reshape the future of the Northern Territories." Every reporter leaned closer. "For years, I have fought against archaic systems that judge wolves by designation at birth rather than character or ability." His silver gaze swept through the room. "Today, I take another step toward changing that system." He reached for Olivia. "Today, I announce my engagement to Olivia Thorne of Crimson Ridge Pack." Silence. For 2 seconds. Then chaos. "Your Majesty, she's an Omega. Is this political?" "What about Lady Seraphina? How long have you been together? Has the Alpha Council approved?" Damon raised one hand. The entire room became silent. Olivia stared. Dozens of aggressive reporters had stopped talking because of one gesture. "I will answer questions shortly," Damon said. "But understand this first." His voice hardened. "Olivia is not a symbol. She is not a political maneuver." Olivia felt her heartbeat against her ribs. "She is my chosen mate." Damon looked directly at the cameras. "And she will be your queen. Anyone who questions her value because she is an Omega will answer to me personally." The warning could not have been clearer. Now, questions. A woman near the front stood. "Your Majesty, how did you meet Miss Thorne?" Damon glanced at Olivia. Her first test. Olivia stepped toward the microphone. "We met because of an unexpected conversation." Her voice shook, then strengthened. "A message intended for someone else ended up changing both of our lives." "True. Just incomplete," another journalist called out. "What attracted the king to you?" "You would have to ask him." Olivia allowed herself a small smile. "But I hope he saw someone who understands struggle. Someone who wants life to improve for wolves who have no voice." A male reporter spoke sharply. "What makes you qualified to be queen? You have no political experience, no royal training." Olivia remembered Julian's history lessons. Neither did the king's great-grandmother before she became queen consort. The reporter paused. She was the daughter of a merchant, yet history remembers her as one of our most effective queens because she understood ordinary wolves. She knew what they needed because she had lived among them. Several journalists exchanged impressed looks. Another voice called out, "Are you saying Omegas are as capable as Alphas?" "I'm saying capability comes from character, not designation." Olivia grew steadier with every sentence. An Omega who manages a pack house, controls resources, solves disputes, and keeps an entire household functioning, demonstrates leadership every day. She looked across the room. "We simply never call it leadership." Damon's hand settled at the small of her back. The cameras immediately noticed. Olivia noticed too. Heat spiraled through her at the contact. "One final question," Damon announced. A young reporter toward the back stood. "Miss Thorne, are you afraid?" Olivia became still. "The position you are accepting has always been dangerous. Queens have faced assassinations, political attacks, and overthrow. Does that frighten you?" Olivia remembered the basement. "Vivienne, 7 years of living afraid." "Yes." Her answer surprised the room. "I'm terrified." Olivia looked directly toward the reporters. "But I have been afraid nearly every day of my life." She drew a breath. "At least now my fear has a purpose. If being afraid and still standing here can help another Omega who believes she is powerless, then the fear is worth it." The room erupted again, but something had changed. Some reporters nodded. Others immediately began typing. Several looked genuinely moved. Damon stepped toward the microphone. The wedding will take place in 6 days. Approved media organizations will receive details. He took Olivia's hand. Thank you. They left the stage while reporters continued shouting. The instant they disappeared behind the curtain, Olivia's knees weakened. Damon caught her. Breathe. I thought I was going to throw up. I know. I almost did. But you didn't. Damon steadied her. You stood in front of some of the most aggressive journalists in the kingdom and forced them to listen. There was genuine admiration in his voice. That answer about leadership was brilliant. I have no idea where it came from. Then whatever part of you produced it needs permission to keep speaking. His hands remained on her arms slightly longer than necessary. Come on. We need somewhere private before the press finds another entrance. Before they could leave, Cordelia appeared with Sage. Olivia. Sage ran directly into her and hugged her tightly. You were amazing. I was shaking. No one could tell. You looked like a queen already. Sage stepped back, eyes shining. I'm so proud of you. Damon cleared his throat. Miss Sage, I assume? Sage went rigid. For the first time she seemed to remember that she was standing beside the Alpha King. Oh gods. Yes, I'm Sage. Your Majesty, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have. It's fine. Damon almost sounded amused. Any friend of Olivia's is welcome in this palace. Sage stared. Cordelia will take you to your rooms. Tomorrow you begin working as Olivia's personal assistant. My what? Sage turned toward Olivia. I need someone I trust, Olivia explained. Someone willing to tell me when I'm behaving like an idiot. She smiled. That's you. Sage's eyes filled with tears. You're going to make me cry in front of the king. Wouldn't be the first time someone cried in my presence, Damon said dryly, although usually for different reasons. Cordelia stepped forward. Come with me, Miss Sage. We should give their majesties privacy. Sage was led away, looking dazed. Damon turned toward Olivia. We need to speak privately. The warmth disappeared from his expression. He took her through several corridors into a small study. As soon as the door closed, Damon said, We have a problem. Olivia's stomach sank. What problem? The Alpha Council has called an emergency session. They want you before them tomorrow. Why? To test you. His jaw tightened. They will try to prove you are unfit to be queen. They will attack you, humiliate you, and attempt to pressure me into withdrawing the engagement. Can they force you? No. Damon's expression became colder. But they can make your life miserable. He moved closer. And they will try. Olivia swallowed. What do I do? You show them what you showed the press today. He held her gaze. You prove you're stronger than they assume. Then he hesitated. There is something else you need to know. What? One member of the council is Alpha Julius Blackwood. Olivia froze. Crimson Ridge? Yes. Damon nodded. Margot's husband. All blood drained from Olivia's face. He has been on the Alpha Council for 15 years and has opposed almost every Omega reform I've proposed. Damon's expression turned grim. He knows you. Olivia sat slowly. He knows your past. He knows what you endured in Crimson Ridge, and he will use all of it against you. Olivia had thought leaving Crimson Ridge meant escaping that life. Now she would walk directly into a room with the man who had allowed his wife to mistreat her for 7 years. I can cancel the session, Damon said. Olivia looked up. I can say you aren't prepared. Give us more time. No. Her voice came stronger than she expected. If I avoid them, they'll know I'm afraid. They'll never stop testing me. She stood. You told me you chose me because I'm strong enough to do this. Olivia met his silver eyes. Let me prove it. Something flickered across Damon's face. Respect. Admiration. Something else she could not identify. Then we prepare. His expression changed. Controlled. Dangerous. We have until morning to make you someone they cannot break. What does that involve? Damon smiled. Combat training, political strategy. His eyes sharpened. And, most importantly, teaching you how to be ruthless. Olivia straightened. Then let's begin. Chapter 7. The Preparation. The palace training room looked nothing like any place Olivia had ever entered. Weapons lined the walls. Swords. Staffs. Daggers. Training mats covered the floor, and mirrors reflected every angle of the enormous room. Damon had changed into dark training pants and a fitted shirt. Olivia tried not to notice exactly how muscular he was. She failed. First lesson. Damon tossed her a staff. Defense. Olivia almost dropped it. I thought you were teaching me politics. I am. He picked up another staff and spun it easily. Politics is war without blood, usually. He moved into position. The Alpha Council respects strength. Before they respect your words, they need to sense that you are not afraid of confrontation. I don't know how to fight. Then today you learn. Damon lifted his staff. Attack me. Olivia blinked. What? Try to hit me. I'm not going to attack the king. Don't hold back. She hesitated. His voice sharpened. That is an order, Olivia. Damon's eyes locked on hers. Attack your king. Something about the command ignited 7 years of buried anger. Olivia swung. Damon blocked her without effort. Wood cracked against wood. Predictable. He barely moved. I could see that attack before you started it. Again. Olivia attacked. Blocked. Again. Blocked. Her swings were wild. Damon's movements remained calm and precise. You're fighting angry, he said. I am angry. Anger makes you careless. Control it. Let anger fuel you. Do not let it drive you. Easy for you to say. Olivia was already breathing hard. You haven't spent your whole life powerless. Damon's expression became cold. No. I had power forced on me at 16 after my father was assassinated in front of me. Olivia stopped. Damon continued. I inherited a kingdom while grieving, terrified, and barely old enough to understand what I was supposed to become. His voice hardened. So do not assume I have never understood what it means to feel overwhelmed. Olivia lowered the staff. I didn't know. She swallowed. I'm sorry. Don't apologize. Damon approached. Learn. He adjusted her hands around the staff. His palms covered hers. Power is not simply strength. He shifted her stance. It is precision, knowing where to strike and when. Olivia's pulse accelerated for reasons unrelated to combat. Again, target vulnerable points, joints, solar plexus, throat. They trained for 2 hours. By the end, Olivia's clothes were damp with sweat and every muscle hurt. But she had hit Damon 3 times. 3 tiny victories. To Olivia, they felt enormous. Better. Damon handed her water. You have natural instincts. 3 hits in 2 hours doesn't sound impressive. I have trained my entire life. His gaze lingered on her. 3 hits are impressive. Then his expression became serious. When Julius attempts to intimidate you tomorrow, remember what it felt like to strike someone stronger than you. Olivia nodded. Hold on to that feeling. And when he attacks me verbally? Olivia drank the water. I assume I'm not allowed to hit him with a staff. No. Damon almost smiled. Unfortunately. He led her into a sitting area beside the training room. Which brings us to lesson 2. More pain? Verbal combat. For the next 3 hours, Damon taught her Alpha Council politics. Julius's greatest weakness is pride, Damon explained. He believes Omegas are naturally inferior. Every time you demonstrate intelligence, control, or strength, you threaten his worldview. How do I use that? Stay calm when he expects emotion. Use logic when he expects tears. Damon paced. Make him appear unreasonable in front of the other council members. He stopped. For example, he might say, Miss Thorne, you have no education, political experience, or knowledge of ruling. Why are you qualified to become queen? Olivia's stomach tightened merely imagining it. What do I say? You tell him the truth. Damon faced her. Alpha Blackwood, I spent 7 years managing a pack household, organizing resources, mediating disputes, and keeping operations functional without authority or adequate support. His eyes flashed. If I accomplish that with nothing, imagine what I can accomplish with the crown behind me. A smile spread across his mouth. Then smile sweetly while he explodes. Olivia laughed. That's actually brilliant. I have dealt with the council for a decade. Damon sat opposite her. I know their habits. He gestured toward her. Your turn. I'll be Julius. Answer whatever I say. What followed was brutal. Damon attacked every weakness, every insecurity, everything an enemy might say. You're a basement rat pretending to be royalty. Olivia's first instinct was anger. Then she remembered his lesson. And yet this basement rat is sitting across from the Alpha King as his chosen mate. She looked at Damon. What does that say about your ability to recognize potential, Alpha? Damon dropped the roll. Better, sharper, he thought. Add something like, perhaps that is why you oppose every reform the king proposes. You cannot recognize value when it challenges your comfortable worldview. Olivia repeated the argument. Damon smiled. Perfect. They continued. Each cruel insult became another opportunity. Slowly, Olivia stopped defending herself emotionally. She learned to redirect, expose contradictions, force the attacker to explain his prejudice. By the time Damon finally stopped, Olivia's throat hurt and her head was filled with political strategies she had never imagined needing. That's enough. I don't think I can sleep. You need rest. I'm too wound up. Damon considered her. Walk with me. It was phrased like an invitation. It sounded like an order. They walked through the palace gardens beneath the stars. Night-blooming flowers scented the cool air. For several minutes neither spoke. Then Olivia broke the silence. Can I ask something? You just did. She almost smiled. But yes, ask another. Olivia looked at him. Why are you really doing this? Damon remained silent. The reforms, choosing me, everything. There is something personal behind it. For so long, Olivia thought he would refuse to answer. Then Damon spoke. My mother was an Omega. Olivia stopped walking. What? It is not public knowledge. Damon looked toward the sky. My father hid it because the council would have used it against him. His voice softened. She was brilliant, kind, stronger than anyone recognized. Pain entered his expression. But the pack system broke her. Olivia said nothing. She died when I was 12. Officially, it was illness. Damon's jaw tightened. But I know what killed her. She spent her life beneath a system that told her she was worthless until eventually she believed it. Olivia's heart ached. I'm sorry. I made her a promise before she died. Damon looked at Olivia. I promised I would change things, that no Omega would have to feel the way she did. Now Olivia understood. That's why you chose me? Partly? He stepped closer. You are useful to my political strategy. I won't pretend otherwise. Then his voice changed. But you also remind me of her. Olivia's eyes burned. Strength hidden beneath trauma. The refusal to completely break no matter how hard the world tries. A tear escaped. Damon gently wiped it away with his thumb. She would be proud of you, Olivia whispered. I hope so. His hand fell away. Get some rest. He looked toward the palace. Tomorrow, we show the Alpha Council what Omegas are capable of. As Olivia returned to her rooms, one fact became impossible to ignore. The agreement was supposed to remain political, professional, emotionless. But Damon had just shown her a piece of his heart, and pretending she did not care about him was already becoming difficult. The next morning, Olivia dressed in a different kind of armor. A sharply tailored burgundy suit. Her hair pulled into a severe bun, minimal makeup emphasizing her eyes. She no longer looked like the terrified servant who had scrubbed Crimson Ridge floors. Sage helped with the last details. You look like you could conquer a kingdom. I would settle for surviving the next few hours. You will. Sage squeezed Olivia's hand. Because you're not alone. Damon believes in you. I believe in you. She smiled. Now you have to believe in yourself. Someone knocked. Cordelia entered. The council is assembled. His Majesty is waiting. Olivia took a slow breath. Then she entered the hallway. Damon stood there in full royal regalia, black and silver. The crown of the Northern Territories rested on his head. At that moment, he looked exactly like the ruthless king everyone feared. Ready? No. Olivia straightened. But I'm going anyway. His lips twitched. That's my queen. He offered his arm. Remember what I taught you. Don't show them your fear. Olivia placed her hand on his arm. And? Damon looked down at her. Make them regret underestimating you. Together, they walked toward the council chamber, toward 12 powerful alphas, toward wolves who wanted her broken before she had even begun. Olivia lifted her chin. Let them try. Chapter 8. The Alpha Council. The council chamber was built to intimidate. 12 tall chairs formed a semicircle beneath an enormous domed ceiling. Each chair was occupied by an alpha whose presence radiated power. In the center stood one smaller chair, lower, isolated, designed to make the person sitting there feel insignificant. That chair belonged to Olivia. Before walking away, Damon squeezed her hand. You are their equal. His eyes held hers. Act like it. Then he took his position at the head of the chamber. His throne stood above all the others. Olivia was alone. She crossed the room with measured steps, straight spine, raised chin. No apology in her body. She sat and met every council member's gaze. Some were skeptical, several openly hostile. 3 seats to the left sat Julius Blackwood, gray-haired, sharp-eyed. His contempt was obvious. Let us begin. Damon's voice filled the chamber. As you know, I have chosen Olivia Thorne as my mate and future queen. He scanned the council. This meeting is intended to introduce her formally and address legitimate concerns. I expect civility and respect. Then Damon turned. Alpha Blackwood, you may begin. Of course. Julius received the first strike. He rose slowly. Your Majesty, council members. His eyes found Olivia. I will speak plainly. Miss Thorne comes from my territory, Crimson Ridge Pack. Olivia kept her expression neutral. I have known her since childhood, Julius continued. She possesses no formal education beyond basic schooling. She has spent 7 years performing menial labor. Several council members watched Olivia carefully. She has no political experience, no understanding of governance, and no alliances capable of strengthening the crown. Julius spread his hands. Quite frankly, she may be the least qualified candidate for queen this kingdom has ever seen. Several alphas nodded. Her sudden elevation also sends a dangerous message to omegas throughout the territories. Olivia's pulse quickened. It teaches them to aspire beyond their natural positions. It will create unrealistic expectations, instability, and challenges to a hierarchy that has served our society for centuries. Damon's voice turned to ice. Are you finished? Not yet, Your Majesty. Julius turned fully toward Olivia. I have one question for Miss Thorne. Silence spread across the room. What makes you believe you are qualified to stand beside our king when you could not even rise above the position of servant in your own pack? Every eye moved to Olivia. This was the moment. She stood slowly. Alpha Blackwood, you're correct about one thing. Julius frowned. I have no formal political training. Olivia took one step forward. But tell me, what does formal political training teach? Theory, strategy, law, history, leadership. Exactly. Olivia nodded. Theory. She continued before he could interrupt. I spent 7 years living the realities your theories rarely address. Her voice strengthened. I know what happens when pack leaders abuse authority because I lived beneath that abuse. Several faces shifted. I know what happens when resources are distributed unfairly because I survived on leftovers. Olivia looked around the chamber. I know what happens when voices are silenced because mine was silenced for 7 years. She turned toward all 12 council members. You ask what qualifies me to become queen. Experience. The room remained silent. Actual experience of life among wolves you govern but rarely see. Olivia's gaze moved from chair to chair. The Omega cleaning your house, the worker maintaining your territory, the wolves who keep your comfortable lives functioning while you debate theory in rooms like this. Julius scoffed. That isn't qualification. That is victimhood. No. Olivia looked directly at him. Victimhood is allowing suffering to define you. Her voice became firmer. What I have is perspective. She stepped forward. And I have 7 years of managing a pack household with almost no resources and no authority. Julius's expression tightened. Do you know what that requires? Organization, resource management, conflict resolution, crisis management. She held his gaze. Every skill you accuse me of lacking, I have practiced every day. A few council members exchanged glances. I simply performed those duties without the title or respect. Olivia could feel the room beginning to change. As for the supposedly dangerous message my elevation sends Omegas, she turned back to Julius. The truly dangerous message is telling half the population that biology makes them worthless. Julius stiffened. That is not stability. Olivia's voice sharpened. That is oppression. She paused. And oppression eventually creates rebellion. Are you threatening this council? Another member, Alpha Theron, spoke sharply. No. Olivia turned toward him. I am describing history. Every system built on inequality eventually collapses. She looked toward Damon, then back to the council. His Majesty is not trying to destroy pack society. He is trying to preserve it by creating a system every wolf has reason to support. Damon leaned forward. Approval burned in his eyes. This is absurd, Julius snapped. Your Majesty cannot seriously expect us to accept. Accept what, Alpha Blackwood? Olivia interrupted. An Omega capable of thinking. Julius's face reddened. Speaking? Olivia stepped closer. Leading? Murmurs spread around the chamber. Because I'm doing all 3 in front of you right now. Her voice hardened. And the only person apparently unable to tolerate it is you. The room erupted in whispered conversation. Olivia continued. You also claimed I could never rise above being a servant at Crimson Ridge. She looked directly into Julius's eyes. Let's be honest about what that means. His expression changed. Your wife, Margot, kept me in that position because she understood something you apparently do not. Julius rose halfway from his chair. I threaten comfortable prejudices. His face turned crimson. She did not keep me down because I lacked ability. Olivia's voice became deadly calm. She kept me down because I had too much. How dare you speak about my wife? Olivia did not move. I dare because I am about to become your queen. She raised her chin. And queens do not hide from inconvenient truths. Julia stared at her. You say my rise sends a dangerous message. Olivia turned toward the entire council. Good. It should. Silence. It should tell every Omega that circumstances do not determine worth. Her voice carried through the chamber. That being abused does not mean they deserved abuse. She continued. That being oppressed does not mean they are weak. Olivia's eyes burned with determination. I am not asking you to like me. She looked from one alpha to another. I am not asking you to approve of me. She straightened. I am telling you I will become your queen whether you accept it or not. And I will use that position to fight for every wolf who has ever been told they do not matter. No one moved. You can work with me to create meaningful change. She looked directly at Julius. Or you can oppose me and demonstrate exactly why change is necessary. Silence filled the chamber. Then an older woman at the far end stood. Alpha Catherine of the Western Territories. Silver hair was braided around her head like a crown. Her intelligent eyes rested on Olivia. Your Majesty. She turned toward Damon. I formally withdraw my objection to this match. Julius stared at her. Catherine continued. Miss Thorne has demonstrated more political intelligence in several minutes than certain members of this council have demonstrated in years. Another alpha stood. I second that. He nodded toward Olivia. This young woman has fire. He corrected himself. This woman has fire. Perhaps the crown needs exactly that. One by one, other council members stood. Julius remained seated. 3 others remained with him. But 7 of the 12 supported Olivia. A majority. Damon rose. The chamber fell silent. The council has spoken. His voice carried absolute authority. Olivia Thorne's position as my mate and future queen is confirmed. He looked around. Any further objections? Julius stood. This decision will haunt you, Your Majesty. His voice shook with anger. You cannot elevate trash and expect it to become treasure. Damon became completely still. Get out. Julius blinked. Your Majesty. I said get out. Damon's silver eyes blazed. You have insulted your future queen. That borders on treason. His voice remained quiet. Be grateful I am removing you from this session rather than from the council. He pointed toward the door. Leave. Julius clenched his jaw. Even he knew better than to challenge Damon further. He stormed from the chamber. The doors slammed behind him. Damon descended from his throne. He crossed directly to Olivia. Then, before the entire Alpha Council, Damon took her hand and pressed his lips against it. Several council members gasped. Well done, he murmured so only Olivia could hear. His eyes held hers. You magnificent, terrifying woman. A faint smile touched his mouth. You just won a war without spilling blood. Olivia's knees were trembling. Did I? Yes. Damon kept hold of her hand. And now every wolf in this room understands something. What? You are no longer merely my political strategy. His gaze sharpened. You are a force they will have to reckon with. They left the chamber together. For the first time, Olivia allowed herself a small private smile. Not bad for a basement rat. Chapter 9. The Wedding. The next 5 days passed in a blur. Dress fittings. Ceremony rehearsals. Media interviews. Meetings with diplomats who wanted to examine the Omega who would become queen. Security briefings about threats from wolves who apparently preferred Olivia dead to seated beside Damon. Through all of it, Damon remained close. He never hovered. But whenever she needed help, he was there. He intervened when advisors pushed her too hard. He explained the unspoken rules of royal life. He gave her room to learn without letting anyone humiliate her. And slowly, dangerously, Olivia began forgetting that their relationship was supposed to be fake. Sometimes she caught him looking at her, when he believed she was not watching. His hand lingered against her back as he guided her through crowds. When they were alone, his voice became softer. It felt real, but it could not be real. 5 years. A contract. A political arrangement. Olivia repeated those facts every time her heart suggested something else. On the morning of the wedding, Olivia stood before a full-length mirror. She barely recognized the woman staring back. The white silk gown seemed almost luminous. Silver embroidery covered the fitted bodice. The skirt flowed around her like water. Her hair had been swept into an intricate arrangement decorated with tiny diamonds. You're breathtaking. Sage stood behind her crying. Absolutely breathtaking. I feel like I'm going to be sick. Sage wiped her eyes. That's normal. It's your wedding day. Olivia looked at her. To the Alpha King. Right. In front of 10,000 people. Sage hesitated. And every major news organization in the kingdom. She considered that. Okay, maybe throwing up is reasonable. Cordelia entered. Her stern expression softened as she saw Olivia. It's time. Olivia swallowed. Are you ready? Cordelia asked. No. Does that matter? Not even slightly. Cordelia adjusted the veil. Remember something. Olivia met her eyes in the mirror. This is larger than you and Damon. Every Omega in the Northern Territories is watching. Cordelia's voice softened. Every young Omega who has been told she is worthless is watching you for proof that something else is possible. The weight of it settled over Olivia. No pressure. To Olivia's surprise, Cordelia smiled. You already proved you can survive pressure. She stepped back. Now show them what a queen looks like. The cathedral was ancient and magnificent. Stained glass cast colored light across stone floors. The most powerful wolves in the territories filled the pews. News cameras covered the walls. Royal security surrounded the building. Olivia stood at the entrance, gripping a bouquet of white roses so tightly her knuckles became pale. Music began. She took one step, then another, and saw Damon. He waited at the altar in black and silver royal regalia. The crown gleamed on his head, but Olivia barely noticed the clothing. She noticed his face. Damon was looking at her as if no one else existed, not 10,000 guests, not cameras, not politicians, only Olivia. It's an act, she reminded herself. He is playing his role, but it did not feel like an act. The walk toward him somehow felt endless and too short at the same time. Finally, Olivia reached the altar. Damon took her hand. His grip was warm and steady. You look stunning, he whispered. You clean up pretty well yourself. His lips twitched. The officiant began reciting ancient words about devotion, duty, and bonds. Olivia barely heard them. She was too aware of Damon. His thumb moved in slow circles over the back of her hand. His warmth surrounded her. Do you, King Damon Ashford, take Olivia Thorne as your mate, your queen, and your partner in all things? I do. Damon's answer rang through the cathedral. And do you, Olivia Thorne, take King Damon Ashford as your mate, your king, and your partner in all things? Olivia's heart pounded. This was supposed to be pretend. Yet when she looked into Damon's silver eyes, she saw something dangerously close to real emotion. I do. Then by the laws of the Northern Territories, I pronounce you bonded mates. The officiant smiled. Your Majesty, you may kiss your queen. Damon stepped toward her. He cupped her face gently. Last chance to run, he whispered. Too late. Olivia looked up at him. I already said I do. His eyes darkened. Then I suppose I should make this convincing. He kissed her. The world disappeared. It was meant to be a performance. A simple kiss for cameras. Instead, the instant their mouths touched, something ignited. Damon's fingers slid into her hair. He tilted her head and deepened the kiss. Olivia grabbed his jacket and pulled him closer. Her body responded before thought could stop it. Nothing about this felt fake. It was powerful. Raw. Overwhelming. When they finally separated, both were breathing hard. The cathedral erupted in applause. Olivia barely heard it. Damon looked just as shocked as she felt. Well, he murmured roughly. That was convincing. Very convincing. The officiant cleared his throat. Your Majesties. They reluctantly looked away from each other. For the first time, I present King Damon and Queen Olivia of the Northern Territories. The crowd rose. Cheers filled the cathedral. Damon took Olivia's hand. They walked down the aisle together. Not as an Omega following an Alpha King, but as partners. Equals. At least, that was what everyone watching believed. The palace ballroom had been transformed for the reception. Crystal chandeliers glittered overhead. White and silver decorated every table. Flowers seemed to cover every available surface. A polished dance floor reflected the lights. Olivia and Damon sat at the head table as an endless line of guests approached. Pack leaders, diplomats, politicians, celebrities. Everyone wanted to meet the Omega Queen who had shattered expectations. "Smile," Damon murmured. Olivia kept looking straight ahead. "You look like someone is about to execute you." "I'd prefer execution. At least it would be quick." Damon laughed. A genuine laugh. Nearby guests turned in surprise. Apparently the ruthless Alpha King did not laugh often. "Your Majesties." Alpha Catherine approached. "I wanted to congratulate you personally." She looked warmly toward Olivia. "Miss Thorne, excuse me, Queen Olivia, your performance before the council was exceptional. Thank you. I look forward to working beside you on the Omega protection legislation." "So do I." After Catherine left, Damon leaned closer. "You see, allies already. Half the battle is done. What's the other half?" "Surviving another 4 hours without collapsing." He stood. "But first, tradition demands that we dance." Olivia stared at him. "I can't ballroom dance." "I know." Damon offered his hand. "So I'm going to teach you in front of 10,000 people." A mischievous light appeared in his eyes. "It will be romantic. You're enjoying this." "Immensely." Damon led her onto the floor. Slow music began. He placed one hand around her waist and held her other hand. "Follow me." He drew her closer. "Trust me." Olivia did. Damon made the movements easy. Whenever she stumbled, he caught her. Whenever she forgot a step, he guided her. Gradually, the watching crowd disappeared from Olivia's awareness. All she felt was Damon's arm around her, his body close to hers. The strange tenderness in the way he held her. "You're doing this deliberately," she whispered. "Doing what?" "Making it feel real." Damon's steps slowed slightly. "Making me forget that we're pretending." Something passed through his eyes. Pain, perhaps. "Olivia, it's okay." She forced herself to smile. "I understand the arrangement. We're playing our roles. I just need to remember that." "What if?" Damon stopped himself. Olivia searched his face. "What if what?" "Nothing." "Damon, forget it." But Olivia could not forget. For one brief moment, she had seen longing in his face. Perhaps he was having the same difficulty separating performance from reality. The music ended. Other couples entered the floor. Damon released her. The absence of his touch immediately hurt. "I need air," Olivia said. "I'll come." "No." She forced a smile. "Stay. You have guests." "Olivia, I only need 1 minute alone." Before he could stop her, she walked quickly onto the balcony. Cool night air touched her burning face. She gripped the railing. This arrangement had been simple in Damon's office. 5 years. Pretend. Change the laws. Leave. Somewhere between the council chamber and the altar, everything had changed. Olivia cared now. She hoped. She had begun imagining what life could be if Damon truly wanted her. And hope was dangerous. Because he had been clear from the beginning. He did not believe in true mates. He did not want romance. She was useful to him. He was useful to her. That had been the agreement. Beautiful night, isn't it? Olivia spun around. A woman stood in the shadows. Tall, elegant, platinum blonde hair, eyes cold as ice. She was stunning enough to make Olivia feel like the basement servant again. "I'm sorry," Olivia said. "I didn't realize anyone else was here. I wanted to meet the new queen away from the crowd." The woman stepped into the light. Her gown alone probably cost more than the entire Crimson Ridge pack house. "I'm Lady Seraphina Blackwood." Olivia's stomach dropped. "Blackwood? Julius Blackwood is my uncle." Seraphina smiled without warmth. "I thought I should offer some advice. Omega to Omega." "You're an Omega?" "One of the few who managed to rise in pack society." Her smile sharpened. through strategic alliances, careful planning. Serafina looked Olivia over. Rather different from stumbling into royal power because of an accidental text message. The insult was delivered softly. So here is my advice. She moved closer. Enjoy this while it lasts. Olivia stiffened. Because it will not last. Serafina's eyes glittered. Damon will eventually tire of his social experiment. Olivia's chest tightened. And when he does, he'll discard you like every temporary distraction before you. That's not. Do you actually believe he chose you for anything besides political theater? Serafina laughed softly. You're a symbol, darling. She leaned closer. Nothing more. Every word struck Olivia directly in the fears she had tried to ignore. When you stop being useful, you'll discover exactly how ruthless the ruthless Alpha King can be. Serafina stepped away. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have guests to entertain. She paused at the balcony doors. Oh, Olivia? Olivia looked at her. When everything falls apart, and it will, don't say no one warned you. Then Serafina returned to the ballroom. Olivia remained frozen. Was she right? Was Olivia merely useful? Temporary? The door opened again. There you are. Damon walked onto the balcony. Concern appeared immediately when he saw her. I saw Serafina leave. He approached. What did she say? Nothing important. Olivia avoided his eyes. Just congratulations. Olivia. His fingers gently lifted her chin. I know that expression. She had no choice but to meet his gaze. What did she really say? Olivia's restraint broke. She said I'm temporary. Damon's eyes narrowed. She said you'll discard me as soon as I'm no longer useful. Her voice shook. And the problem is that she isn't wrong, is she? Olivia, that is exactly what we agreed. She pulled away. 5 years. I'm useful now, but eventually. Stop. His voice was fierce. Stop listening to poison from people who want you to fail. But she's right. She isn't. Damon took Olivia's face between his hands. Yes, this began as an arrangement. His silver eyes held hers. Yes, I chose you for political reasons. Olivia's chest tightened. But somewhere between our first meeting and tonight, something changed. Damon's voice grew rougher. You changed it. Olivia stopped breathing. You entered the council chamber and faced the most powerful alphas in the kingdom without flinching. His hands remained against her face. You stood at that altar today and took vows even though you were terrified. His eyes burned. You are brave, brilliant, stronger than anyone expected. He paused. Including me. Olivia searched his face. That doesn't change the agreement. No. Damon shook his head. But it changes me. Silence. That kiss was not for show. Olivia's heartbeat exploded. The dance wasn't for show. Damon's voice became raw. And what happens to me every time I look at you sure as hell isn't for show. What are you saying? I'm saying I'm an idiot. Something vulnerable entered his eyes. I believed I could keep this professional. He laughed once without humor. I thought I could spend every day beside you without falling. Damon stopped. Olivia whispered, without falling what? For a long moment, he simply stared. Then, to Olivia's shock, Damon stepped away. I'm sorry. What? I shouldn't have said that. His expression closed. This is your wedding night. I'm making everything more complicated. Damon, forget it. Please. We should return to the reception. He turned. Damon, let's go inside. He walked back through the doors. Olivia stayed on the balcony. Her heart felt as though it were breaking and soaring at the same time, because Damon had stopped before saying the word. But Olivia had heard it anyway. He was falling for her. And God's help her. She was falling for him too. Their fake arrangement had become dangerously real. Chapter 10. The Truth. 3 months passed after the wedding. 3 months living inside a beautiful lie that felt less like a lie every day. Olivia threw herself completely into being queen. She worked beside Damon on the Omega Protection Act. She visited PACs across the Northern Territories. She sat with Omegas who had endured abuse frighteningly similar to her own. Olivia listened to their stories and documented their experiences. Together, she and Damon built a political case the Alpha Council could no longer dismiss. Olivia became exactly what Damon had wanted, a symbol of change, a voice for wolves who had never been heard. But she also became something neither had planned: his partner, his confidant. The person Damon sought when a difficult day ended. Someone whose judgment he genuinely valued. Every day, the boundary between their public relationship and private reality became thinner. They still kept separate bedrooms because the contract required it. There was no official mating mark, no true bond, no private physical relationship beyond what public appearances required. Yet Damon's hand lingered on hers during meetings. His voice changed when he spoke her name in private. He looked at her as though she mattered beyond politics. It was driving Olivia mad, because she had broken the most important rule in their contract. She was in love with Damon Ashford. Completely. Irrevocably. Terrifyingly. And Olivia had no idea whether Damon felt anything similar, or whether she was turning kindness into signs of something that did not exist. Olivia sat in the royal study reviewing the final version of the Omega Protection Act. Fair wages, safer working conditions, the right to reject unwanted bonds, legal protection against abuse. Everything she had once wished someone would fight for. The council vote would take place the following day. After 3 months of negotiations, lobbying, and political maneuvering, they finally had enough support. The law was going to pass. They had almost won. So why did Olivia feel as though she were about to lose the thing she cared about most? "You're thinking too loudly." Damon stood in the doorway. Olivia looked up. That expression was on his face again. Soft, warm, focused entirely on her. Just reading the final draft. She looked back at the pages, making sure nothing was missed. Nothing was missed. Damon entered and sat across from her. "It's ready." He smiled. "Tomorrow this passes, Olivia. Everything we worked for becomes law." "I know. Then why do you look miserable?" "Because once the law passes, you may no longer need me." The thought almost escaped. Instead, Olivia said, "I'm tired. It's been a long 3 months." Damon studied her. "That isn't the reason." She looked away. "You have been distant." He leaned forward, "especially since the wedding night." Olivia's stomach tightened. What really happened with Serafina that night? "I told you. You lied." His tone contained no anger. "You've improved at many things during the last 3 months." A faint smile appeared. "Lying is not one of them." Olivia said nothing. "Talk to me." His voice softened. "Please." That word broke her defenses. "She said I was temporary." Damon's expression changed. "She said you would discard me after I stopped being useful." Olivia stared down at her hands. "And I know that was always the agreement." 5 years, then freedom. Her throat tightened. "But Damon, She stopped. "You what?" "I can't do this anymore." The confession burst from her. Damon went still. "I can't keep pretending this is political." Olivia stood. "I can't pretend nothing happens every time you touch me." Her voice shook. "I can't stand in front of cameras playing your devoted wife when I'm actually—" She could barely force out the words. "When you're actually what?" Damon's voice was gentle. Olivia looked at him. "In love with you." "I'm in love with you, Damon." Tears filled her eyes. "Completely, stupidly, hopelessly in love with you." She could no longer stop. "I know that wasn't the agreement. I know you said this was business. I know what the contract says." Her voice cracked. "But I cannot keep pretending I don't feel this." Silence. Olivia could not look at him. She did not want to see pity, discomfort, or indifference. Say something, she whispered. Her hands trembled. Please. Even if you only tell me I'm an idiot. You're not an idiot. Damon's voice sounded rough. You're brave. Olivia looked up. Terrifyingly brave. He stood. Do you know how long I've been waiting to hear you say that? Olivia stared. What? Damon walked around the desk. He pulled her gently to her feet. I fell in love with you the night of the Alpha Council meeting. Olivia stopped breathing. I watched you stand in that chamber and dismantle every argument they threw at you with nothing except courage and logic. His eyes shone. I fell in love with you again when you walked toward me at the wedding and looked at me as though I was the only person in that cathedral. Tears spilled down Olivia's cheeks. And I have fallen in love with you again every day since. Olivia stared at him through tears. Then why didn't you tell me? Because I was terrified. Damon cupped her face. His thumbs brushed the tears away. I told you I didn't believe in real love. His voice cracked slightly. I told you true mates were nonsense, that this was business. He shook his head. Then you entered my life and proved me wrong about everything. But I thought... He swallowed. I thought you still wanted the contract. 5 years, then freedom. Olivia stared. I didn't want my feelings to become another cage for you. Another cage? She laughed through tears. Damon, you were the person who opened mine. His expression softened. You gave me a voice, a purpose, a life I wanted. Olivia touched his chest. How could I not love you? Damon exhaled. Then apparently we're both idiots. Olivia almost laughed. Because I've spent months honoring a contract when all I wanted was to tear it apart and make this real. Then tear it apart. He froze. What? The contract. Olivia grabbed his jacket. Tear it up. Her voice strengthened. Make this real. Damon stared at her. I don't want 5 years followed by freedom. She shook her head. I want forever. Olivia looked directly into his eyes. I want you. Something fierce moved across his face. All of me? Yes. Are you sure? Damon's voice became serious. Because once I claim you as my true mate, there is no undoing it. The bond is permanent. I've never been more certain. Damon's expression changed. Then there is something you need to know first. Olivia waited. I didn't choose you only for political reasons. She frowned. I lied about that. What do you mean? Damon reached for his phone. The instant I read that ridiculous message you accidentally sent me. He found the old conversation. Something inside me recognized you. Olivia's heartbeat slowed. My wolf knew. Damon looked at her. I simply refused to admit what it meant. Her lips parted. The pull I felt wasn't curiosity. His silver eyes burned. It was recognition. He stepped closer. You are my true mate, Olivia. You always were. Olivia could barely speak. You knew? I suspected. Damon nodded. But I was terrified of believing in fate after spending my life telling myself it was nonsense. He took her hands. And I refused to force you into a bond because biology said you belonged to me. His grip tightened gently. I needed you to choose me. Olivia's tears returned. Freely. Not because I was king. He shook his head. Not because of fate. His voice softened. Because you wanted me. I do. Olivia squeezed his hands. I choose you. Her voice became certain. Every day. Damon stared for one long moment. Then he released her hands and dropped to one knee. Olivia's heart stopped. Olivia Thorne. Damon looked up at her. My queen. His voice carried no trace of the ruthless ruler the world feared. My partner. Emotion filled his silver eyes. My true mate. Olivia covered her mouth. Will you accept my bond? Damon held out his hand. Not as a contract, not as an arrangement, but as something real. He swallowed. Permanent. His voice softened. Forever. Yes. Olivia's answer came instantly. Yes. She laughed through her tears. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Damon rose. Then he kissed her. Not like the careful public kiss from their wedding. This was wild. Desperate. Real. His hands moved into her hair. Olivia pulled him closer and finally allowed herself to feel everything she had denied for months. When they separated, both were breathing hard. Damon pressed his forehead against hers. I'm going to mark you. His voice was rough. Here. Now. Olivia trembled. And tomorrow, after the legislation passes, we tell the kingdom the truth. His hands tightened around her. No more contracts. No more pretending. Olivia smiled through her tears. Just us. Promise me something first. Anything. Promise you'll never stop fighting for Omegas. Damon's expression softened. Even when I'm gone. Stop. He pulled back. You aren't going anywhere. His expression turned fierce. We are in this together. He touched her face. You and me against the world. Olivia smiled. Forever? Forever. Damon's wolf rose close to the surface. Silver flashed through his eyes. Mine. He pulled her against him. Yours, Olivia whispered. Always yours. Damon kissed the side of her neck where the mating mark would remain. The bond snapped into place. Olivia felt it like a golden thread joining something deeper than flesh. Heart, soul, wolf. For the first time in her life, she felt completely whole. The following day, Olivia stood beside Damon in the Alpha Council chamber. Her mating mark was visible on her neck, a silver crescent identifying her as the Alpha King's true mate. The council noticed immediately. Several alphas looked shocked, others seemed pleased. Julius Blackwood looked as though he had swallowed poison. Before the vote began, Damon stood. I have something to tell this council. Every voice stopped. 3 months ago, I told you my relationship with Olivia was political. Damon glanced at her. I lied. Murmurs filled the chamber. She is my true mate. He took Olivia's hand. She always was. Julius's face darkened. And today we are deciding more than whether one law passes. Damon looked across the council. We are choosing what kind of kingdom we intend to become. He continued. One that recognizes the worth of every wolf. His voice hardened. Or one that clings to hierarchies that should have been left behind generations ago. Damon turned toward Olivia. My queen has shown this kingdom what becomes possible when we stop judging wolves according to designation and begin judging them according to who they are. Then he faced the council. So I ask you to support this law. He paused. Not because your king commands it, because it is right. Alpha Catherine rose first. Yes. Another alpha stood. Yes. Then another. Yes. One after another, the council members cast their votes. Even several wolves who had once sided with Julius voted in favor. Eventually, only Julius remained. He sat rigidly, fury covering his face. No. His vote no longer mattered. 10 votes in favor, 2 opposed. The Omega Protection Act passed. Applause erupted through the chamber. Damon grabbed Olivia and lifted her into his arms. He spun her around as she laughed through tears. We did it, Olivia breathed. Damon lowered her. No. Love and pride filled his eyes. You did it. He touched her face. You changed the world, my queen. News spread through the northern territories. Celebrations broke out across the kingdom. Omegas danced in streets. Pack houses that had once operated like prisons were forced to become homes. Workers received wages. Abuse could be punished. Unwanted bonds could be refused. Across the territories, wolves who had spent their entire lives hearing that they were worthless slowly began believing something different. They mattered. 6 months later, Olivia stood on a palace balcony overlooking the city she had learned to love. Footsteps sounded behind her. There you are. Damon wrapped both arms around her waist and pulled her gently against his chest. I've been looking everywhere. I was thinking. That sounds dangerous. Olivia smiled. About what? About how 6 months ago, I was scrubbing floors in a basement. She looked across the city. And today I gave a speech before the United Pack Summit about Omega rights. You were magnificent. Damon kissed the mating mark on her neck. Olivia shivered. Although I prefer you like this. Like what? Relaxed. He kissed her again. Happy. Then his voice dropped. Mine. Olivia turned in his arms. Always yours. She smiled. Did you hear about Crimson Ridge? That depends. Which part? They appointed their first Omega to the Leadership Council. I heard. Damon's eyes brightened. Apparently she's brilliant. Olivia narrowed her eyes. Wait. He smiled. It's Sage, isn't it? It is. Olivia laughed. Your best friend is helping transform the same pack that tried to break both of you. Damon looked toward the horizon. There is something poetic about that. There really is. Olivia's smile faded into something softer. Damon. He immediately noticed the change. What is it? I have something to tell you. Concern crossed his face. What's wrong? Nothing. She took his hand. Nothing is wrong. Olivia guided it toward her still flat stomach. Actually, everything is perfect. Damon stared down at their hands, then back at Olivia. We're going to have a pup. Damon froze. You're pregnant. Olivia smiled. About 6 weeks, the healer confirmed it this morning. For one incredible moment, the ruthless Alpha King looked completely helpless. Then joy transformed his face. Damon swept Olivia into his arms. He spun her around, laughing loudly enough for the sound to echo across the balcony. We're having a pup! Wonder filled his voice. Olivia laughed. A little Omega, Alpha, or Beta, who will grow up in a kingdom where everyone is valued. Damon carefully set her down, where no one tells them they're worthless because of what they were born as. Olivia touched his face. And who will have the best father in the world? Damon's eyes softened. He cupped her cheek. I love you. His voice was quiet now. You know that, right? I know. Olivia leaned into his hand. And I love you too. More than I ever believed I could love anyone. Damon kissed her. Softly this time. Tenderly. Full of promise. As the sun lowered over the northern territories, painting the sky gold and crimson, Olivia thought about the message that had changed everything. I want you to pin me against a wall and make me forget my own name. She had written it as a joke, a fantasy shared with her best friend, a brief escape from a life that once seemed hopeless. Instead, one mistaken message had opened a door she never knew existed. It had given Olivia a voice, a purpose, a love powerful enough to challenge everything she had believed about herself. And, at last, a future that truly belonged to her.